So much fun.
You want to clarify?
Are you not participating?
I think she sold the whole business.
Thought it was in there, but
Well, Brad,
I said, this is wiki.
are you? I remember what she was focusing on.
I don't think I've ever done it once.
Have you never?
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Welcome here, everyone. And I'm back to reading a book. I haven't read too many books this year, but I do enjoy reading. And I'm reading this one, Think Again, by Adam Grant. So I just want to read you a little story out of here, and then a little talk, and that'll be my opening today. So I'll get started. You probably don't recognize his name, but Mike Lazaridis has had a definite impact on your life. From an early age, it was clear that Mike was something of an electronic wizard. By the time he turned 4, he was building his own record player out of Legos and rubber bands. In high school, when his teachers had broken TVs, they called Mike to fix them. In his spare time, he built a computer and designed a better buzzer for high school quiz bowl teams, which ended up paying for his first year of college. Just months before finishing his electrical engineering degree, Mike did what so many great entrepreneurs of his era would have done. He dropped out of college. It was time for this son of immigrants to make his mark on the world. Mike's first success came when he patented a device for reading barcodes on a movie film, which was so useful in Hollywood that it won an Emmy and an Oscar for technical achievement. That was small potatoes compared to his next big invention, which made his firm the fastest growing company on the planet. Mike's flagship device quickly attracted a cult following with loyal customers ranging from Bill Gates to Christina Aguilera. It's literally changed my life, Oprah Winfrey gushed. I cannot live without this. When he arrived at the White House, President Obama refused to relinquish his to the Secret Service. Mike dreamed up an idea for BlackBerry as a wireless communication device for sending and receiving emails. As of the summer of 2009, it accounted for nearly half of the US smartphone market. But by 2014, its market share had plummeted to less than 1%. When a company takes a nosedive like this, we can never pinpoint the single cause of its downfall. So we tend to anthropomorphize it. BlackBerry failed to adapt. Yet adapting to a changing environment isn't something a company does. It's something people do in the multitude of decisions they make every day. As co-founder, president, and co-CEO, Mike was in charge of all the technical product decisions on the BlackBerry. Although his thinking may have been the spark that ignited the smartphone revolution, his struggles with rethinking ended up sucking the oxygen out of his company and virtually extinguishing his invention. Where did he go wrong? Most of us take pride in our knowledge and our expertise, in staying true to our beliefs and our opinions. That makes sense in a stable world where we get rewarded for having conviction in our ideas. The problem is that we live in a rapidly changing world where we need to spend as much time rethinking as we do thinking. Rethinking is a skill set, but it's also a mindset. We already have many of the mental tools we need. We just need to remember to get them out of the shed and remove the rust. Council, we're heading into fall. And fall is our time when we we finalize our budget for the next year. And you've seen the cost increases on the projects that we're doing, and you've seen the limited budget. There's not a lot of increases in our budget, and so I'm just asking us to start preparing, because we will have to spend time this study session rethinking how we do things. In the 1980s, Council of the Day, they spent time and they were rethinking how they did, and they had to pivot due to high interest rates the cost of borrowing and the cost of projects. Our interest rates have climbed while we've been on council as well, and the projects have gone up. And although the city's in a great financial state, we still need to, I think we need to rethink and we need to relook. We might still do the same thing even after rethinking, but I think we need to take the time to do that. And we need to be serious about it because going forward, we want to leave the city in the shape that it's in today, and it's in fantastic shape financially, and we want to make sure it stays there. So that is just what I want to leave you as we get into some serious times coming this fall. And I just want to leave you with a quote from George Bernard Shaw: "Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything." Thank you. Okay, council, we have the agenda in front of us, looking for a motion to adopt. Councillor Pinner, second by Councillor Bill. Call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. We have the minutes of September 5th, 2023, regular council meeting. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Pinner, second by Councillor Hebert. Any comments?
No comments.
Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Is there any business arising from the minutes? Okay, seeing none. There's no public hearing. It's a little before 7:45, so we'll go down to number 9, administration, accounts payable. That's at the back of the book. We've all had a chance to review. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Pinner, second by Councillor Hebert. Any comments? Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We've got 9B, the financial statements ending August 31st. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Hebert, second by Councillor Siemens.
No comment.
No comment. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We've got 9C, the business license, for August 2023. That's on page 15. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Hebert, second by Councillor Swagstra.
No comment.
Call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. We have 9D. We've got building permits for August 2023. That is on page 16. Looks like it's been a very good month. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Swagstra, second by Councillor Pinner. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, it is a good month for building permits. Obviously, I'll draw attention to the biggest item on there, which is the hospital addition at $44 million. Obviously, we're looking forward to that being completed, and that has a big impact on our total permit numbers. There's also a lot of residential development happening in our city, as we see here, and that is good to see as well. So year-to-date building permit numbers, $147 million. A very strong number, and the year is not done yet.
Councillor Penner, anything further?
Yeah, further to Councillor Swagster's comments, we're still expecting the school permit to be pulled yet, so we could very well be pushing near 200 million, if not hit the $200 million mark for this year. So it's a very significant year for permits in our community.
Anything further, council? Anything closing?
No.
Yes, council, this is again another great month. It is due to the hospital. This year we're having a year where there's a lot of commercial and industrial and institutional permits. So it's kind of skewing the numbers, but they're good numbers. And when you look at a 10-year average, it kind of evens out. Our 10-year average is about 50% each way, like it's 50-50. So that will continue, but this year itself is very good commercially, and that's what we're looking for. Economic development is the buzzword everywhere, and it, as you can see, economic development is alive and well in Steinbach. Call for the question. All's in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, we'll go down to 9E. This is subdivision 4451 2022 8762. This is referring to 40 Northgate. And this is on page 17 of our package. Mr. Worthing, could you please introduce this file?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. This application for subdivision for the file, as you mentioned, at 40 Northgate Drive in Steinbach, is being applied for as a second phase to a larger scale commercial development at the north end of the city. This subdivision application has two parts. Firstly, to create a one-lot plan of subdivision with the lot having an approximate size of 2 acres. And second, to create an 18-unit commercial bareland condominium plan of subdivision, along with a common element from the residual parcel of approximately 50 acres. This subject parcel is designated as commercial policy area under the city's official community plan, with the subject parcel zoned C3 commercial corridor. The first phase of this development received approval in 2014 with a further revision approved in 2016. The proposal being submitted at this time shows a revised lot and lane access layout within the development. However, it remains as a commercial condominium plan, which is generally consistent with the concept plan provided at the time that the first phase was approved. Recommendation from the administration is that council approve the application for this subdivision subject to an updated and approved conceptual grading and servicing plan and to the execution of a development agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Worthing. Council, how would you like to proceed? Councilor Swagstra,
Make the motion to approve.
second by Councilor Penner. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's always good to see more commercial development happening with our city, and that's what this subdivision allows for. And as is noted by the city manager, this is consistent with our official community plan, and so I think it's appropriate for the subdivision to go ahead, so that way this development can proceed.
Thank you. Anything further?
Nothing further, Chad.
Anything further of council? Anything
No.
closing? Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We have 9F, bylaw 2229, public reserve opening. This is referring to 609 Main Street, third reading. Mr. Worthing, could you please introduce this file?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This bylaw 2229 is a proposed bylaw to create a public reserve from an existing parcel of land plus a recently acquired additional parcel due to a neighboring development. Recommendation from administration is for council to give this bylaw to create the public reserve third reading.
Okay. Council, would you like to proceed? Councilor Siemens,
Motion to approve.
second by Councilor Ebert. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a piece of property on our Main Street, a corner of Main and Goosen, I believe, and this is a request to change the land so that the owner can develop or sell the land on the parcel fronting Main Street. But also what's important to note is that we're also developing a public reserve on the back end of that property where the old creek bed was, the Steinbach Creek, for potential future pedestrian corridor or whatever works. But it is good for our city's long-term strategy to move forward.
Thank you. Anything further, Councilor Ebert?
No additional comment. Thank you.
Anything further of council? Anything closing?
No, sir.
Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We are at 7:45, so we'll move up to 7. We have a delegation from S.T.A.R.S tonight. Daryl Braun, welcome here. Thank you for coming. It's good to see you.
Thank you. It's good to be back. I was saying to Lexi that I spent probably 20 years, 25 years in that chair in the corner, and had a lot of great moments and fun moments here. So good evening, Mayor Funk and members of City Council. I'm Daryl Braun, a Donor Relations, Development and Community Engagement Officer for S.T.A.R.S. Joining me this evening are Colleen Mayer, Director of Fundraising for Manitoba, and Angel Cuthbertson, Donor Relations and Development Officer. It's a pleasure to appear before you with an update about S.T.A.R.S. And since you, whoops, my machine is being that way. Just give me a second.
Are you nervous?
No. I'm just checking why my mouse is suddenly running away from me here. Where did it go? What I was going to say, though, is since you're well acquainted with S.T.A.R.S, that I don't need to go into the background. I think we've been through that on my last couple of visits. And so I wanted to share a little bit about what we're doing and some of the new initiatives that we're taking. There, now my mouse is working again. So I'm going to keep my comments brief, and we'd be pleased to answer any questions at the end. So 2022-23 was another busy one. Our team taking part in 700 missions in Manitoba to provide critical care. These missions included everything from scene calls like accidents and health emergencies to interfacility transfers of very sick patients to major trauma centers in Winnipeg. S.T.A.R.S flew 92 missions to Steinbach and area during the year, 39 calls directly to the city of Steinbach, and a further 53 calls to the area within 50 kilometers of Steinbach. An important development this past year was the introduction of our new logo and branding, and you may see it there. It's the heartbeat that leads into the S for S.T.A.R.S. Part of this new brand is an emphasis on S.T.A.R.S as a provider of critical care anywhere. This clearly identifies the work of our pilots and medical teams on the helicopter, going wherever they need to provide critical care. But it also provides new ways in which we're using the critical care expertise of our organization to improve care. For example, our transport physicians are available to consult medical professionals in rural and remote regions to guide them in dealing with critical care cases they may rarely see, but are part of our work each and every day. And our doctors are now frequently consulting. So Steinbach ER may call up and something's presenting that they rarely see. Our transport physicians with a lot of critical care practice day to day are able to then consult with them and share knowledge that can expedite the care for that patient. Such interventions using extensive case knowledge can help to improve outcomes. And I'm just going to play one brief video for you today about our new brand.
There are some words you never want to hear in a medical crisis. Too far away. Too far to reach. Too far gone. S.T.A.R.S was born from the conviction that no one should go without the care that could save their life. Care delivered by minds that innovate, hands that heal, hearts that reassure. Critical care anywhere is more than our vision. It's who we are. Overcoming obstacles, extending beyond boundaries. Because when it comes to the next patient who needs us, it's never too far.
S.T.A.R.S continues to play a vital role in the delivery of critical care to the people of Steinbach and area, and with the continued support of our funding allies, we will do so for years to come. We are grateful to you, the City of Steinbach, for the commitment of $1 per capita per year to help us sustain operations of this vital service. S.T.A.R.S provides as part of the local emergency response system. We thank you for your time, and we're available to answer any questions you may have.
Well, thank you very much. Good presentation. Council, are there any questions for Daryl? Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Braun, for the work that you do with S.T.A.R.S, and we appreciate the service that S.T.A.R.S provides. I know that last year you had talked about more and more municipalities that were getting on board with the dollar on a per capita basis. Is that number continuing to grow? Like, do you have some approximate numbers for like how many municipalities are now doing this?
I'm going to call on Colleen. She's our director, that's her bailiwick.
Okay.
I work with municipalities where I have relationships, but Colleen, if you wouldn't mind.
So I don't have the specific data with me, but we've seen, I would say, at least 6 new first-time municipalities. We've been able to have conversations with them, and at various levels, not all of them are starting off with $1 per capita. It depends on what their budgets and when our asks come in, but I would say this year alone, we've had about 6 new municipalities that have never donated to us.
And the number is currently, I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, we're approximately about 85% of municipalities.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead, Councillor Payne.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm just wondering, like, what is the funding structure? How much does the provincial government fund? How much do you have to fundraise?
Yeah, our funding structure is set up that we raise about, I think it's 20% has to come through fundraising. That's a number that changes and flexes depending on the year. But we raise about $3 million a year to make it happen. And so you think of a hospital that's fully funded and they're still fundraising to be in step with the latest. We're not fully funded, so part of that is operational. And then beyond that, we're also fundraising to keep our equipment and our training at the very top.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor Seaman.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Daryl, it's been always good to work with you here at City Council, and thank you for all your work that you've done, and again here. But question, I don't know if it's related or not. We just had a building permit of $44 million for our hospital, to upgrade our hospital again. Helicopter pad. Do you guys have any input, any say on, or put pressure on to put a helicopter pad on our hospital?
We can't advocate for helicopter pads. That has to come from the community. So in St. Anne, the community did the work, and the helipad was built. Boundary Trails had a benefactor that said, we need this, and paid for it. It's a little more complicated. Boundary Trails and St. Anne both had considerable outdoor space where a pad could be built. It would be more expensive in Steinbach, and we would love for somebody to advocate. I've had conversations with the Bethesda Foundation. They have a lot on their plate as well, to begin that process. Some of our colleagues that I speak to, it's a game changer. So right now, from the base to the airport for the helicopter is an average of 16 or 17 minutes. For them to then jump in an ambulance, come to the hospital, and back to the airport, package the patient, do the consult, is about another 30 minutes. So if they were able to fly directly to the hospital and strictly spend that 5 or 10 consult and go, as we know we deal with people all the time who are hanging in the balance. It would be a big difference maker. And so that continues to be, we're looking for and continuing to talk to people about advocating for a structure like that. I think in Winnipeg at Health Sciences, the province stepped in because of the, again, large urban facility. It was different. But, again, I don't know if those questions have been asked of the government. But it would make sense to me that while we're expanding, I don't know, I'm sure the building is underway, but it wouldn't take a whole lot. It's not that heavy an aircraft for them to incorporate that into the structure. So we would love for somebody to step forward. I know there have been 1 or 2 incidents in the past couple of months where our crew have said the outcomes didn't go badly, but they could have been even better if there was a helipad, just because of that extra 20-minute delay.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything further for council? Councillor Hebert?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to give a bouquet to you personally, Daryl, and to S.T.A.R.S for the work that you do and that you do every single day. And as always, I enjoyed the presentation that you give to council here, and the presentation in our booklet here is reading the stories of actual incidents that happened. It's always, it hits the heart a little close, so thank you. And I also appreciated in this one, I don't know if you've done it in the past, but I noticed all the communities in Manitoba and how many times the, I'll say, chopper was used in each of these locations. So thank you very much to you and your people.
Thank you. Yes, that list is published annually, and we try to include it in our mailers at least once a year. Thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor.
You, Mr. Mayor. I witnessed a very serious accident at Gulfview Road a couple of years ago where a car got basically side impacted, and it was so serious. It was a truck that hit a small car, and I don't know if you remember the accident. It looked like that life, there's no way that person could survive. And S.T.A.R.S was there within a very short period of time. They landed right on the highway. And I know that person did survive, and most likely due to S.T.A.R.S. So I do appreciate what you do in our community. I had another question I wanted to add. How far north do you go with your S.T.A.R.S services?
To about the 53rd parallel. So what happens is we have fuel to fly about an hour and a half out and an hour and a half back. But at those points, just beyond the 1 hour, we have fuel caches set up at airports and in communities. In Western Manitoba, there are some local fire departments that have fundraised and actually have a fuel trailer. And if we're in their area, they'll drive to where we are and fuel us up. So that extends us right to the Saskatchewan border, Ontario border. We go as far as Swan River, kind of that line into the north. So, you know, Mattagatagan, you know, all those Barons River, all those places.
Thank you.
Anything beyond that is generally handled by fixed wing, because at that point, even though it takes usually, I think, fixed wing, we're in the air usually within 8 minutes of that alarm going off at the base. A fixed wing, I'm told, is generally closer to 45 minutes to an hour. But then if they take a jet or a big prop plane that travels at twice our speed to get north, it makes more sense.
Anything further, Council? Well, Daryl, thank you very much, and your team for coming out. Thank you. Daryl, again, it's always been a pleasure every time we get to see you. Thank you for coming out, and I hear this could be your last presentation to us, so this one's extra special, so
Thank you,
very much.
and Colleen will be pleased to deal with you. She deals with all the municipalities in Manitoba, but I happen to have a special relationship here, so it just made sense. And there are one or two. We did a presentation in my old hometown of Altona a little while ago again, because I happen to know some people, and it just was a better comfort level. So otherwise, now you're going to be comfortable with Colleen, and she knows you don't bite.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Greatly appreciate it.
And just sharing, giving us a snapshot of what this last year was like. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay, Council, we've got 9G. This is Municipal Service Delivery Improvement Program, referring to the grant request for support resolution. It's on page 59. Mr. Worthing, could you please introduce this file?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I will defer this to the city's corporate services manager, Mr. Adam Thiessen.
Yes, the Municipal Service Delivery Improvement Program is a provincial grant program. It's 100% funding provided, and they will do consulting work to assess value for money audits and proposals. So in this case, the fire chief is wanting to look at some different options for expanding the service as time goes on, and call volumes continue to increase over time. So really just looking to have somebody do an in-depth audit of the cost implications of those different plans that are being considered.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Thiessen. Council, how would you like to proceed? Councillor Penner,
Motion to approve?
second by Councillor Swagstra. Okay, go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We live in a city that is growing and growing rapidly. And with that, we need to make sure that we are staying on top of our protective services. It's good that our fire chief has taken the opportunity to find grant funding to take an analysis of this, but we need to ensure that with the way that our city is growing, especially growing outwards on all corners and all sides, there's different levels of service that's required to different areas of the city. So this is good to have a third party to come in and audit and see what roadmap moving forward might look like.
Thank you. Anything further?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We certainly support the work of our fire department, and it's good that our fire chief is looking at ways to improve the service. And this is an opportunity to apply for funds to make that possible. And so I certainly think we should support the application here.
Thank you. Anything further of council? Anything closing?
Nothing further?
Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We will move on to number 10, council question period. Yes, Councilor Susan Penner, go ahead.
Yes, I was wondering if we could get an update on Park Road West and how long until the completion of that project and what the timeline is looking like there.
Okay, I'll direct that to administration.
I can start with Phase 1 began in summer of 2022, so I would have to say that this project has been fairly long in the tooth. I can say that Phase 1 was, for all intents and purposes, completed earlier this summer. However, because Phase 2 of the Park Road West improvement project also began this summer, the road has been closed to traffic for some time. Based on the current schedule, concrete work for the final phase has actually begun, with the expectation that that will be done in the next 2 weeks or so. And according to the current schedule that we have on file, our expectation is that the road will be open to the public after October 13th.
Thank you, Mr. O'Rourke. Okay, so October 13th, sort of, after October 13th. So we should be ready there, council, with our vehicles and be the first ones to drive on it. Thank you very much. There's no correspondence petitions, no other business. Looking for motion to adjourn. Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Hebert. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Next regular council meeting is Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023 at 7:00.